So what's up? What's going on, my fellow fart knockers and dillweeds? It's Antmaster 5 with you. And no, this is a special episode of The Realms of Metal. Now, where's Ed? Because right now we have Vic fucking Rattlehead in the house. Vic, are you in your happiest place on earth? How's the family?
Good. What's going on? Welcome back to the Realms of Metal. What are we doing today, Ant? What are we talking about here?
Well, it's funny you should say, Edward. Friday night, uh, Friday the 13th, Eddie and I went to go see the mighty Megadeth at Bethel Woods, New York, which is the actual original site of the Woodstock Festival in 1969, man.
1969.
And we got the brilliant idea. Eddie, excuse me, got the brilliant idea. He says, you know what we should do? We should come up with our dream Megadeth set list. So 15, I don't even have any honorable mentions. I know you probably got a whole bag of honorable mentions.
You know what? Megadeth, I told you 15 tracks, but Megadeth actually played 16 tracks on Friday. So I
Yeah.
came up with, 16 tracks that I would want to see in a dream Megadeth set list. And
I
I
mean,
know
I
you did.
will admit in my 15, some of them were definitely played Friday night,
Absolutely.
but it was a great show. I mean,
Dude,
do
I've
we
been watching
really
videos
want
of
to?
this tour, until we got to our show. And the videos I've been watching were great. I mean, Megadeth seemed like they were on fire this tour, like they're just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
This band, and they seem like they're having fun up there, and that
absolutely.
resonated with me. I thought it was a great show, man. I like everybody knows I did a couple of videos. They know I was taking my daughter. It was her first time seeing Megadeth, first big show. She was sold, right from the fucking intro. Like it was so exciting, the wheelbarrow across the stage, bring out your dead.
Bring
And
out your dead.
got goosebumps like I did when I was a teenager, when that came on. So it was great. It was
I
it was a
told her, I
great night
said,
all the
like,
way around.
if this is going to be like, your first real bona fide rock metal show, it's going to set the bar.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was like, I went to see the Rolling Stones when I was your age. And like my brother in law basically told me there's a good possibility that a lot of things after this is going to suck. And he was right.
Yeah. So the,
So,
the the bill itself, Megadeth with Mudvayne and All That Remains. What did you think of the opening bands, Ant?
so I'll be brief, even though I'm wearing boxers. I wanted to learn more about All That Remains. I didn't know much about them. I knew they were from Boston.
Austin,
I
Massachusetts?
As opposed to Austin. They were from Boston. They were from Beantown, musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. Their lead singer, Levante is his last name. God, it escapes me. Started like doing research on him, found out that he's kind of on our side of the fence politically, even though we won't speak of that. He's a former Marine. Uh, he's a buff motherfucker. Like he looks like he could just like beat the shit out of somebody and then crack your head into an ATM machine. Uh, and the weird thing is he's got the same birthday as me,
No shit.
month, date, and year. I was like, okay.
And year?
I don't know. I just tried to immerse myself in like some of their back catalog, and I admit I was really digging their stuff because I do like that melodic stuff, but live, I thought they sounded fucking amazing. I was really blown away. I Not being a dick, I wish they could have played a little longer.
Yeah, they only played
Um,
like a half hour, I think.
but I think their spot should have been right before Megadeth because when it came to Mudvayne actually bumped one of my worst bands that I've ever seen out of my like top 10 bands that were the worst I've ever seen.
So you didn't like Mudvayne.
I mean, so as some of my viewers know, I recently started playing bass. I don't know why. It's just a midlife crisis. And so I admit, like I was starting to take a lot of that from the show. Like I wanted to kind of absorb the bass, like bass players. So whoever the guy is from Mudvayne that plays the bass with the big pants, he was pretty good, except I'm telling you now, as my friend, if you ever catch me with my bass doing that type of walk, even if it's around the Beat Laboratory here, you punch me in my fucking mouth.
He was wearing like some bell bottoms or some shit. Did you see that?
The what?
He was wearing bell bottoms or some shit. Did you see his pants?
Yeah, you could fit a family of four in one of the pant legs. I wasn't getting it. I didn't care for them at all. And what I found out when I took to social media and kind of did my recap of who who I liked and how good the show was, uh, come to find out that Mudvayne has like this elite alliance of a fan base that will kill you if you don't like them.
Really?
Uh, but so I didn't care for them. All that remains, I admit, I'm a Michael Bolton fan. I admit I walked away from that show a fan of All That Remains.
Oh shit. I mean, I don't know much
So
about them or didn't know much about them. And we watched it. I thought they were decent. It's very melodic, kind of metalcore stuff. Like they really reminded me of Killswitch Engage, who I do listen to here or
definitely,
there. But I think Killswitch Engage's songs are just better. I think they're more memorable than All That Remains. But that's just me. They didn't make. I didn't hate them. I'm not gonna run out and buy all their stuff, but to me they were okay. Mudvayne. I know, believe it or not, I liked the early Mudvayne stuff. Like I know some of those tracks, and
yeah, I knew two.
they just sounded off to me. Like I feel like the singer's voice was shot. I don't
Yeah,
feel like he hit the melodic parts that he normally would hit, like you would hear on the CD. Uh,
yeah.
he looked like Violent J, for Christ's sakes, with his makeup on from the fucking Insane Clown Posse. I don't know. I think the highlight of Mudvayne's set was watching the bass player. I think he's a very talented dude, and
Same.
that was I Mudvayne didn't do it for me. I still like some of the older Mudvayne stuff, but live, I feel like I've seen Mudvayne before too, and I just can't remember when. It was on a festival somewhere, and they were
Right.
better than what we got Friday night. But like I said, I feel like they could have taken some better bands out with them. To me, I know you enjoyed All That Remains, but it would have been cool to see a band like Body Count on that bill. Being that
Yeah.
Ice-T and Mustaine have collaborated multiple times now. Mustaine was on his record, he was on Mustaine's record. With Night Stalkers, that would have been cool for Ice-T to come out and do a song with Megadeth, like Night Stalkers in the set. That would have been super fucking cool, but we didn't
I
get
kind
that.
of had my fingers crossed, being that it was like, it was Dave's birthday, and I thought there was going to be like, she was going to pull something out of the
I was
hat.
thinking that too. I'm like, I wonder if Ice-T is gonna be there, gonna do Night Stalkers together. That would be so
Yeah,
cool.
I said the same thing. I said there's gonna be something cool, but they probably
But
had some awesome cake in the green room.
but one thing I will say is to go from Mudvayne to Megadeth, right? Two completely different bands, completely different styles, and to be there sitting with my daughter right next to me. So we watch Mudvayne, and Megadeth comes on, and they're just shredding solos. Like Mustaine and Timo are just shredding solo after
Yeah.
solo, every track. And not only are they just shredding solos, but you think about it, and while you're listening to and watching them play, the solos are just so memorable. Like we've listened to these
Yeah.
songs for years and years now, and we know exactly how the solos go to Hang Your 18, and you know, uh, you name it, we know them, and he just writes some great shit. And to see that contrast between Mudvayne and Megadeth is like night and day. Like from a musicianship standpoint to me. And my daughter
So
noticed it too.
Well, I have a question for you, Captain Yellow Shirt. So this was my first Megadeth experience. So out of the big four, I've only seen Metallica a handful of times and Anthrax. I've never seen Slayer, I've never seen Megadeth. So my question for you, I understand, numerous lineup changes, but something that was always a staple for years, was always Dave and Dave. So with the departure now of Ellefson again, but now it's probably going to be permanent. Being that how many times have you seen Megadeth?
Probably 17 or 18 times. No bullshit.
Okay. Um, how do you feel that James Lomenzo stands up like to
I'm a fan
to
of
the bass
Lomenzo.
tracks?
I've been a fan of his all the way back to White Lion. I met him.
Same.
He's a nice guy. We met him on one of
He's
the
a New Yorker
Gigantors.
like us.
But to me, I'm an old school fan. I think that Ellefson belongs in Megadeth. Just between you, me, and the wall. I feel like there's almost a void there that he's not there. You always think, especially as a kid, Dave and Dave, Ellefson and Mustaine.
Because he was like that one staple of the band.
Uh,
We look, I mean, let's face it, we all knew, Mustaine's attitude, during the earlier albums, during, So Far So Good So What, and Killing of My Business, even up to Rust, when like Rust in Peace basically, cemented the classic lineup, which was Marty Friedman and rest his soul, Nick Menza.
hmm.
Uh, but before that, I mean, I'm a fan, but you have the data. I can't keep up with the lineup changes. But if there's something that was always there, was Ellefson. So that never changed for me. So there is always going to be a part of me too that's like, he's
Yeah.
not there.
I mean, I did see the couple Gigantors without Ellison too. Um, James McDonough from Iced Earth was playing bass for them for a while, and it's just not the same. Like I know all the iterations of Megadeth's lineup because I've been such a big fan over the years, and I just know them off the top of my head. And I like Lomenzo. He's a good guy. I think he's super talented. But to answer your question, I want Ellefson in that band. So
Great. Fuck, I should have worn my shirt. I bought a shirt for $45 and I didn't wear it.
I bought my daughter one, and I was gonna buy one for myself. I'm like, I'm not spending $100 on 2 fucking t-shirts. You guys are crazy, So I bought her one with the tour dates on the back. But
I mean, we have our friend Scow bought a fucking beer for $17.50.
it's a bargain.
It was like the gods must be crazy with the Coke bottle. I'm like, you better use that fucking can for something.
Now,
You better use it around the house. I mean, I don't know if you could cut the can in half and let your wife make biscuits out of it, make it into a cookie cutter.
now the set list they played, they've been changing it up over the tour. I've been paying attention to songs they've been putting in and pulling out. And they've done Hook and Mouth, they've done Rattlehead, they've done Devil's Island, they've done The Conjuring, they've done Kick the Chair, they threw in Dystopia the other night, they throw in Liar. I got to be honest with you, I really wanted Liar in the set list because I've never heard that song live ever. I went back to all the times I've seen them, looked at the set list. Even the first time that I saw them when I was 16, they never played that song. To hear Liar was so fucking cool after all these years for the first time, man.
My number 9 and my number 4. My number 4 and my number 9 are going to be the 2 songs on my list that I really wanted to hear more than anything.
So our set was, they opened with The Sick, the Dying, the Dead, which they've been doing on every tour.
Yeah.
Dread and the Fugitive Mind, Angry Again, Soldier On, Hangar 18, Soldier On, that was the tour debut of Soldier On. That's off the new record. She Wolf, Sweating Bullets, of course. Liar, amazing. Washington Is Next, they put in there, amazing song. Trust is always in their set list. Honestly, I've heard that a million times. I could do without that, Tornado of Souls, We'll Be Back. I'll tell you what, We'll Be Back to me was one of the highlights of the night. I know it's a new track, it's off the new record, but that fucking track kills, man. Like it's fast, it's aggressive, there's that really
Drums alone.
breakdown in the middle of it. Like that's a track they could have wrote like 30 fucking years ago. Like that is
I
such a
said the same
throwback.
thing.
I love that track. Like me and Sophie were banging our heads to that track. I'm like, ready for the fucking thrash part, Sophie? She's like, yeah, we're banging our heads to that part. It was so cool. So we'll be back. Symphony of Destruction, of course. The Mechanics they played, which was great. I mean, I've heard that live a bunch. And the one thing he didn't do on this set, on this tour, was whenever he plays that, before he plays it, he'll say, you can hear this song one of two ways. You could hear it my way or their way. He goes, but either way, it's still my way, you know? And he said that at so many shows, but he did not say it at this show because I feel like he's mended the fences with the Metallica guys. It's probably why he doesn't say it anymore.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, you know, but the Mechanics was great to hear. It's great for my daughter to hear that too, because she's familiar with the Four Horsemen. And then we got Peace Cells, which I think was another highlight of the night. I mean, that track live is so much fun.
Yeah, because I've never even seen it like on YouTube live.
You know,
So, not realizing with the kick drum how, he's got the whole crowd doing the clap, and I'm like, that's
it was
pretty
so
fucking
much
cool.
fun, that Peace Cells. And then the encore was Holy Wars, of course. So there was our 16 tracks. I think it was a solid as fuck set list. And they were full of energy. They were on fire. It looked like they were having fun. Vic Rattlehead comes out in the mask, hanging with Mustaine. I thought it was a great show, great night. Loved every second of it, man.
I had a great time. I haven't been to a show since 2017 when I saw Metallica at MetLife. So this was like the first like real time I've like been out to see like, a real, concrete metal show with like, real solid bands.
Now this is
not,
in Bethel Woods,
tribute
New
bands
York.
at the fairgrounds.
For everybody out there, it's Bethel Woods, New York. They don't do a lot of metal shows at this venue.
Oh.
So on the way out, Pete and I were like bullshitting on the way out, heading out to the car, and we were saying that, you know what? There were no fights. There was no bullshit going on. Everybody was happy, getting along. There was no drama. And
there was a couple of fights up by us.
Was there really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a couple of fights on the lawn. Security ran and broke up like a big fucking Donnybrook.
Shit, I did not know that.
There was a bit of a brawl like to the left of us. I was like, uh-oh, and I'm sitting there with, well, I mean our friends as well, but like our one friend in particular, we won't out him, and his friends, it was all military and cops. So I felt fucking safe.
Yeah.
But I looked up, I was like, oh, what the, and yeah, there was all of a sudden you just saw, guys with walkie-talkies running down the little fairway, and I was like, oh, and
now Pete was telling me
twice.
They do have a lot of country shows there, and Pete was telling me that they have these all-out brawls at these fucking country shows. There's fights all over the place. Everybody's drunk.
I've been to them. I've been to Luke Bryan, so yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping this opens the door for more metal shows at Bethel Woods, being that it was sort of tame. So
I would definitely, because for me, I mean, I don't, as our listeners here know, and as my listeners know, I don't travel very well anymore. So, Bethel Woods is practically in my backyard. It's like, it's like a half hour away from my pop. So it's like, I actually, parked my truck and rode up with our mutual friend there, and it was easy peasy, right up the highway.
So what's your dream set list? If you had to pick tracks that you were going to see Megadeth and you could pick the ones they played, what would you pick?
Yeah, I'll knock right through it. It's like I said, I mean, I picked things that were, I admit, I mean, only because of where I am in my fandom, where a lot of the newer stuff, just my ADD just kind of fell by the wayside with me. So a lot of mine is classic with some elements mixed in there of and I'll like I said, number 4 and number 9, and then I'm going to talk about number 6 really quick. So I didn't put them in any particular order except what I think they should have done for encores. So from Killing Is My Business, 1985, The Mechanics, from P Cells Who's Buying, P Cells from '86. From so far so good so what 1986's release, I put In My Darkest Hour.
Yeah, it's a great one.
I would have liked to hear what that sounded like.
I wish they had played that instead of
Number four
Trust.
is one of my favorite songs by Megadeth. Call the Cops on Me. I don't care. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to, to the world out there. I would have loved to hear from Countdown to Extinction, Foreclosure of a Dream.
Good one.
I love that track. I would have loved to hear that. From Cryptic Writings, 1997, Trust, which they did play, thank God. Number 6, Angry Again. Now, Angry Again, chime in if I'm wrong, is from 1993's The Last Action Hero soundtrack.
Correct.
Several of my friends who I was standing with on the lawn, and we'll just out him, one of our closest friends, Mr. Ryan Scow, actually did not know that song.
Really?
Yeah, he did not know that track. And I'm over there like engaged in crime. And there was a couple of like his mutual friends that were looking at me going, we don't know this one. What? And usually I'm that guy. I'm that guy that's like, hey, what album is this off of? Like I don't want to be that guy, but for the first time in my life, the tables turned. So Angry Again, from Peace Cells 1986, The Conjuring, Hangar 18 from Rust in Peace in 1990. Gotta have Hangar. Now this is one I love. It's from a compilation CD called Capital Punishments, and that's Kill the King.
Good track.
I love that, and that came up in another compilation. I don't know the name. I have it, and I don't know the name of it. It's the one with the mushroom cloud on the cover and Vic's head like superimposed in the. I forget what he called that greatest hits, but anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, do I have it written here? This is just like the Gen X locker. I look so unprofessional. No, I didn't write it down. All right.
I know which one you're talking. I can see
moving
it in my
right
head.
along.
I
So
can't
Kill
think
the
of it
King.
though.
From 1994's Euthanasia, I picked Train of Consequences.
Good one.
And Dave plays the harmonica on that song. Back to Rust in Peace from 1990, Tornado of Souls. And now this is a break from the norm for Antmaster 5. 2009's Endgame, I picked Head Crusher.
That's a really good modern Megadeth track.
And then finishing up like the set list with track number 13, again from 94's Euthanasia. Let me channel my best French accent. À tout le monde. Je tourne les quoi. À tout le monde, c'est bonjour. Bonjour, je tourne over the shoes and into the fountain. So for my two encores, this is pretty much a given. 1990s Rust in Pieces, Holy Wars, Rust in Pieces, Holy Wars, Punishment Due, and from Countdown 1992, I put Symphony of Destruction. I will say, listening to Symphony of Destruction live, I understand there's a lot of people that pull the comic book guy from The Simpsons. Oh my God, it's the worst song ever. It's so overplayed. I love the song, but I am going to say something. You're going to look at me like, who are you and what'd you do with Ant? I'm going to down the American public for a second. Down with America. And I'm going to say why. I don't know if you know what I'm getting at with this. Symphony of Destruction, when it's played in any Latin American country, from Spain, Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Brazil, any country of Spanish origin, the people do a chant and they say, dun, 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 and they go, Megadeth, Megadeth, aguante Megadeth, aguante Megadeth. Aguante is Spanish for long live forever, keep it going. And these people have it down. We just sit there and go, now, fucking now. But I'm sorry, the people of Latin America, South America, and Spain, their interpretation of that. So have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen them do that live, like the night in Rio,
Yeah.
and seeing the people doing the chant? I am so used to seeing that live on the YouTube and the TikTok and the Facebook and the Instagram and your sister's ass and everything else, that I'm just, that was disappointing to me. So when they played it
Yeah.
and I was looking around and nobody was doing Aguante Megadeth, and I was like, shit. But other than that, that's my dream set list. But to the people out there, I was not in the least bit disappointed with their set list Friday night.
No.
So there you go.
I mean, I would have taken the way people feel about Symphony of Destruction. I kind of feel that way about Sweating Bullets. Like, I've heard it so many times. Like, it's just,
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
I don't need to hear Sweating Bullets again, but I know the crowd loves it. But my set list from top to bottom, 16 tracks, would be, I would open up with We'll Be Back. I think that's such a great track. Like I said, I think it's one of the best. I think it's the best modern Megadeth track and a throwback track at that. So I would open for that. Like, that would just get the crowd going right away. I would put Wake Up Dead after that, which they did not play in our set list. I mean, Wake Up Dead has to be on the set list. Third, I would go with Hangar 18. Fourth, I would go with Set the World Afire from So Far So Good. I love that track, always have. Fifth, I would go Skull Beneath the Skin. 6, The Conjuring. 7, Take No Prisoners. 8, Devil's Island. 9, In My Darkest Hour. Pretty much replacing Trust as like the slower track. I don't need to hear Trust, ever again, but I do love In My Darkest Hour.
I
Number
remember
10,
saying The Conjuring, and that was my number 7.
that was my 6.
Okay, if I did, that's so funny how we do that.
No,
Sorry, man. Go ahead.
my number 10, here's one I'm going to throw at you. This is one I always loved, and that's Go to Hell from Megadeth. That was on like
Ah,
a Bill and Ted soundtrack, remember? Uh, I love Go to Hell. I love the lyrics in that. They're so much fun to sing. I saw my funeral that day. That's such a great track. 11, I'm going Washington Is Next, which they played, which I love that track. The lyrics are so good in Washington Is Next. Mustaine is
absolutely.
so awake. I love his view of the government and just his views in general, 12, Rattlehead. 13, Hook in Mouth. 14, The Mechanics. And 15, Peace Cell. 16, Holy Wars. That's my encore. So that would be my dream set list if I had to pick, 16 tracks of
I was wondering if one of us were going to say it, but neither of us said it. But I'll say it as Beavis. 99 ways to get. And then I was wondering, like, if you were going to throw in like one of the covers in there, either No More Mr. Nice Guy or Anarchy in the UK.
I do love that No More Mr. Nice Guy cover, but I wouldn't want it in my set list. I would rather have something else. I think there's just better stuff that they could play.
Yeah. Well, I did wear my wristband, which I've had. When I bought this, I bought this at, well, in my old shopping mall in Roosevelt Field, Long Island, after Rust in Peace came out. So I've had this wristband for that long. I will say, when you start playing guitar, or if you're playing bass and you're starting to shred, these come in handy when you start to sweat.
There you go. And the one thing I liked is it didn't seem like they were going through the motions. It seemed like they were generally having a good time up there and
Absolutely.
enjoying what they were doing, enjoying each other, enjoying the crowd, and that resonates with me. And I've honestly never seen Megadeth play a bad show. All the times I've seen them. So
I'll bring something up that I actually brought up to one of our friends about this, and I can screenshot the conversation to prove it. Hey, now I don't know if it's because of the layout of Bethel Woods, but I actually mean this as a positive. I was very impressed with the simplicity of their stage. I'm not dogging Metallica, but the ramps and the snake pits and it's like trapezes, and there's just so much going on. It like reminds me of I know it's like apples and oranges, but it's almost like how Def Leppard did their stage for not Pyromania for Hysteria, which just like all of these catwalks and everything, and it's like
Yeah.
you know and then like if your seats aren't that great and you're like where's Joe, you're like so their stage, there's a couple of platforms, the drum rides and stuff like that, but it wasn't, I mean, it was the backdrop was amazing, the lighting was great.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, I'm not going to leave a show, look at you, and go, "Oh man, it was horrible. There was no pyro." Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, nobody cares.
But I actually said the simplicity of their stage was like, from an ADD perspective, I'm like, I could pay attention. So, and I like that.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
just
I thought the backdrop was
there.
great. Vic's sitting in the, that throne, with the big Megadeth logo in the back. I mean, you can't beat it. I thought it was excellent.
I had a great time, man. I had an absolutely phenomenal fucking time.
Yeah, it was almost like a high school reunion too. Like everybody, everywhere we walked in the parking lot, we saw somebody that we knew.
Yeah.
So all in all, great show. I hope they bring more metal to Bethel Woods. I think this proves that you can play metal there and have a decent show. So
yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, I could see it. I mean, I could see some. I wouldn't put it past them to get some classic acts in there. I mean, Overkill maybe.
I don't know if they could fill that, but
Testament.
It would have to be like
I mean, I know
a bill with a
Slayer's
lot of
back one
bands
day and
on
they're
it
off one day
to
and they're
fill
back
that venue.
So yeah.
Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap it up, brother man?
I know this guy that owns this great online store called the realmsofrock.com.
Never met him.
And I don't know if he ever wants to add any All That Remains merch into his repertoire. I know a guy that might buy a shirt. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'll write it down. I'm writing it down. All That Remains.
I did download some of their music on my, I almost said my iPhone, on my Galaxy here. Really quick, if you can, take a listen to their track called No Tomorrow. I thought they were going to play it, but they didn't. It's brand new by them.
Okay.
Now I'm just going to talk to the camera. Everybody, don't mind Ed, and don't tell me what his face does right now. I know he's not going to like it. He's like, I don't know. This is like, I don't know. It's like there's no frosting on the apple pie. But yeah, wanted to give give my boy here a shout out. Take a look at his store. He's got a great online store. He's got vinyl, he's got cassettes, he's got collectibles, he's got all kinds of memorabilia except Civil War memorabilia, so you can't get a boot with a foot in it.
Spaceballs to toilet paper. Spaceballs to flamethrower.
The kids love this one.
Kids love it.
So yeah, check him out, man.
I'm gonna go to Miss Barrett's apartment to check her out.
I'm gonna go and check out Miss Barrett's apartment.
Yeah. So there we go. There's our show review. Megadeth, Mudvayne, and All That Remains, Bethel Woods, September 13th, 2024. Anybody who's seen them on this tour, let us know what you thought of your show that you saw. What was in your set list. We know that they mixed up some of the songs in the set list. We've been paying attention. And to the fucking Megadeth.
We actually have a couple of friends from my old high school on Long Island that saw them the next night down at Jones Beach.
Okay, cool. So yeah, man, everybody chime in, let us know. And on behalf of Ant and the Gen X Locker, make sure you subscribe to the Gen X Locker. That's Ant's channel. And on behalf of the Realms of Metal, Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Monday evening. I usually don't do videos, but this was kind of an impromptu thing. We want to kind of get it out there while it was still fresh in our minds. So
And
we'll
this is
see you
my
guys.
first time on the realms of this is my first time on the realms of metal with like the mic and the new camera and the backdrop and
Yeah,
everything. So
yeah, man. Looks good.
it looks so professional.
There you go. Well, we'll see you guys again real soon. Have a killer week.
Thanks for hanging.